Hello, everybody. Welcome to Radium Girls.
We are so excited that you guys are here to join us tonight. And the cast is really pumped to put on the show for you guys.
Yes, and we just have a couple questions. We ask that you silence your cell phones and refrain from taking flash photos as they're a little distracting. And halfway through the show, after Act 1, we're going to have about a 15-minute intermission where you can buy snacks and drinks outside in the hallway.
I'm just going to start us off with a quick prayer. Dear Lord, I thank you so much for this day. I thank you that everyone could join us tonight for this performance. And I thank you for this wonderful cast that has worked so hard to put on this show. I pray that both the audience and the cast are impacted by the story that we get to tell tonight. And I pray that everything goes smoothly. In your name, amen.
Amen. Enjoy the show. So much light, daylight, all the time, and on sunny days, it even felt like you were sitting outside. It was that bright.
That surprised you, Grace?
Well, it was a factory. I was expecting it to be dark and dirty.
Then why go work there?
I was 15. It was time I paid my own way.
Pay your own way? What about school?
Oh, I didn't miss it so much. All the girls there were so nice, and the work we were doing, it wasn't like factory work, really. It was more like artwork. We were artists, paid those dials.
I'm not really the one you should be talking to. Von Sachaki, he's the one you should be talking to.
Now, Arthur, you know you can speak to us.
It was his process.
Tell me about the process. You used a powder.
We used a powder. The girls, they mixed it with an adhesive to make the paint. And that business with the brushes, I didn't invent that.
But
they were doing that when I got here.
But you knew.
We all knew, we didn't know what it meant.
Irene? In here! Irene, what are you doing?
Shut the door! Amelia's urgent inspection today.
Is that bad?
Not for us. Amelia's gonna be sitting in this room in the dark, all by herself, checking dials.
Poor thing.
Poor thing.
So we're gonna give her a little surprise.
Boom! Like a chest out cat.
Well, won't that make her mad?
Oh, let her get mad.
That's half the fun.
I don't want to make her mad.
Oh, Grace, do you have to be that way about everything?
What way?
Here, Grace, let me put some teeth.
Ain't like Amelia don't deserve it. She paints more dials than any girl on the floor, and can't be bothered to talk to nobody either. You say, Amelia, what's new? She just looks at you funny.
I don't think she can speak much English.
Wouldn't kill her to smile, would it?
She's coming! Get the light! Where's the switch?
For pity's sake, Catherine.
Okay, you guys ready? 3, 2, 1.
Boom! Painting your faces. Have you gone out of your minds?
It was just a joke.
Just a joke? A joke like that can lose a girl her job.
No, Mrs. McNeil, I'm sure that's not necessary.
Well, you know I don't tolerate no foolishness, Doctor.
Yes, foolishness we don't want, do we? Mr. Reader, this is the inspection room where all the dials that are painted go to, and here are some of the girls who should on the floor be working. And girls, this is Mr. Reader, my new company vice president and your plant manager.
And I was just telling Mr. Reader here what a fine bunch of girls we have. And I'm sure now he must think I'm halfway out of my mind.
How about some words for the girls, Mr. Reader?
Well,
Mrs. McNeil.
girls, this paint you're playing with, it's very expensive. You realize this. It takes several tons of ore to produce a single gram of radium. That's a lot of work, hard work, for the men at the extraction plant. But they do this work gladly. You know why? Why do they work so hard? What are we all working for?
The war.
That's right, the war. The dials you paint save lives, girls. The boys on the field depend on them to see in the dark, no mistaking what they read. Otherwise, some boys won't be coming home. Now, if you're going to mess around and not take work seriously, then you're messing with the hands of the Kaiser, and you don't want that, do you?
No, sir.
All right. Then, let's leave the tomfoolery to home and get back to work.
Mr. Reader, I just want to say I'm really sorry, and I won't do nothing like that ever again.
Well, dear, Just remember this. You do right by us, and we'll do right by you.
May 17, 1921, Nancy Jane Harlan here for the New York Graphic, the Graphic's only girl reporter.
Jackie Youngwood here with the Newark Ledger, Newark's first source of news.
Madame Marie Curie, eminent French scientist, is headed on a whistle-stop tour of the United States.
First stop, New York City, where she is greeted by an enthusiastic crowd of well-wishers.
The High Priestess of Science is headed for Washington, where she will receive a gift of 1 gram of radium valued at $100,000.
Purchased for her by the Marie Curie Club, an association with over 100,000 American women.
Who each gave $1 in support of humanitarian research with radium.
Grace, over here. Irene, look, I got my certificate. Madame Marie Curie Radium Club. You gave $1?
It's all for science.
Science? What about my room and board?
Oh, look, she's coming.
Long time no see. Welcome all, yes. I must ask you, ladies and gentlemen of the press, please limit your questions. Madame Curie is about to embark on an exhausting tour of the country, and she is under strict doctor's orders to rest. However, in the typical fashion of a scientist who can think only of her research, her life's work, she has refused to rest.
Madame Curie, what will you do with the radium? What will you do with the radium?
I will continue my experiments to find better methods for the treatment of the cancer.
Is radium a cure for all cancer?
Cure for the cancer? Yes, that is so. It has already cured all kinds of the cancer.
But some doctors dispute that.
Then they do not understand the method. There is no question. Radium will cure the cancer.
Madame Curie, how have you managed to devote yourself both to science and to your children?
It has not been easy. But my daughters share my gratitude to the American women for their interest in science and my work. I am most grateful.
Madame Curie!
No more questions, please. Madame Curie is on a strict schedule. Mrs. Andrew Carnegie has sent a car and will escort Dr. Curie personally, as will I, to Washington, where President Harding will present the gift of 1 gram of radium.
Did you see that, Charlie? This is a marketing opportunity. We'll send her one of our customers' watches, courtesy of the United States Radium Corporation.
Well, we'll need a press release.
Radium, it isn't just for scientists. The average American can share in its glory every night. Luminous watches, luminous clocks. Consider all the advances in the past 50 years. The electric light, the telegraph,
The telephone.
the automobile, things all once considered as novelties, as toys.
Now, essentials to modern life. Got it. That ought to sell some watches.
Watches, absolutely, but that's not where the market is. You heard the woman is in the medical field.
But Standard Chemical owns it.
Only because Von Sachaki lets them. But we can get half their market if we want it. It's just a matter of positioning.
Standard Chemical publishes their own journal. They send it out monthly to 12,000 doctors. We do something similar.
Something scholarly, something that the doctors will respect.
A bibliography of every article ever published on radium.
Yes, but both capsule reports. The doctors can get their information, they can read it fast, and
have us to thank for it.
Exactly. We'll send it to every doctor in the U.S. Radium Society.
To every doctor in the American Medical Association.
That is the spirit, Charlie. Advertising. It's the wave of the future. It's not just the product, it's the way you promote it.
Grace, you should have seen it. The church was filled with flowers, lilies, carnations, and orchids. You know how Amelia loved orchids.
Those weren't orchids.
Those were orchids, Irene.
Flags.
Orchids. I know an orchid when I see one. Purple orchids, Grace. That smelled, Grace. It was like flowers? No. It was like heaven. I was going to say it was like heaven.
Like heaven. Catherine, it was just a funeral. You make it out like it was some Valentino picture.
It wasn't just a funeral. It was Amelia's, and it was beautiful. The church was like the botanical gardens. The company sent a big spray of flowers too. Carnations.
Mums.
Yellow carnations.
Those
out of your
were
thing
mums.
for mums.
Well,
It seems like a nice service anyhow.
Girls, the whistle has already gone. Now then, I have received my instructions for today. We're going back to the old way of pointing the brushes. We were losing too much paint in the cloth.
But what about...
Yes, Grace. Something you wish to say?
Dr. Von Sashaki told me not to do that. He said it's unsanitary.
Unsanitary? Well, I'd hardly believe he'd say something like that. We've been doing it for as long as I've been here. You must have misunderstood him.
Yes, ma'am.
And we're not to get new brushes until we're done with the old. And they have to be so bad that you cannot make a point with them no more.
You can't make a quota like that.
Well, you do your best then, since I received my instructions.
I need a new brush.
It's not for us to be asking questions. It's for us to do the work.
I have instructions, girls. I have instructions.
Here's an instruction for you, McNeil, with some of the starch out of your corset.
Was she at the service?
McNeil, are you kidding? You think she'd cross the street for her own mother?
You was about the only girl from the floor who wasn't there.
I wanted to go, but Ma was working and I had to watch the little ones.
You could have brought them.
All 7.
Well, if it's me, I tried to be there.
Just lay off. Grace feels bad as it is.
Were many of the fellas there?
Oh yeah, lots of fellas from downstairs. Mr. Roth from the front office, Dr. Von Shiitake was there, and Mr. Reeder.
And he left early.
So, he was there all the same. Oh, Grace, you know, from the fellow from Crystallizing, the one with the red hair? He was there. You know who I mean.
The tall one with the freckles?
Yeah, that's the one who snaps his fingers all the time.
George.
Jerry.
I think it's George.
It's Jerry. Jerry Malone. He's the one who's always talking to Amelia in the day room.
Grace, when this mass was over, he goes over to the cup and he goes like this. He goes like this.
Mwah.
No. Yes.
Really? Really? For pity's sake.
Well, he did, and nobody could believe it.
So what if he did?
So what? He was in love with her. That's so what? Don't you think so, Grace?
Well, he had to have been if he did that.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine? He loved her and never could bring himself to say because she was so beautiful and he was so shy. And now their love is forever thwarted. He didn't tell her, and he'll never have a chance ever again.
Poor Amelia.
Poor Amelia.
Poor kid.
Her family took it awful bad, Grace. Albert, Quinta, every one of them crying. Even her father crying. I never did see a man cry like that before, just bawling like a baby.
And you know why, too.
Well, because their daughter had died.
What she died from.
Irene, don't go spreading the story.
It's not a story. Albina told us. No reason Grace shouldn't know.
No what? No what? Amelia?
Ain't it awful? Her father fit to be tied. 2 6 girls at home, ain't none of them ever going to dance again.
All because Amelia Upton died from syphilis. Shh. I can help it if that's what she died from.
Well, you don't know that for sure.
It's on the death certificate.
Anemia and complications from syphilis.
But Amelia was ever so nice.
Guess she got around more than we knew.
Maybe the doctor was wrong. Doctors get it wrong sometimes.
Come on.
That's true. Doctor's wrong about Aunt Ivy.
What's Mama got to do with it?
Up to the day she died, doctor said, you'll be fine, get a good night's rest, good cup of tea. And then 2 days later, we was walking up to the Rosedale Cemetery.
Girls, your attention, please. The gentlemen are here to make an announcement.
Thank you, Mrs. McNeil. I'm here to put a few rumors to rest.
And to explain some changes, yeah?
As you may have heard, Dr. Von Sachowski is stepping down, and he wanted to take this opportunity
And to take with a goodbye, and Mr. Reether has so kindly consented. Some of you I've known since you were little girls coming here during the war, working so hard at the bench day after day. 200, 300, some of you 500 dials a day. So happy to be a part of the work here. When I started this company in my kitchen, mixing up the paint, I knew I stumbled upon something miraculous to make life easier, better, and now what do I read? So many more uses for the radium, so much more than I ever dreamed.
Thank you, Doctor.
Yes, thank you, Doctor. Now, girls, the doctor is a very busy man and must be on his way. So, let's wish him good luck on his new job.
And let us wish good luck to you also, Mr. Ritter, with the new plate you step up as the company president.
Thank you, Doctor.
When Mr. Ritter came to us 4 years ago, I saw him as a great man of enterprise and ambition.
Thank you, Doctor.
Little did I know the direction that ambition would take the company, but that is something about this country that is so great.
Thank you.
The opportunity it gives the young man and his friends.
And so, girls.
And so, ladies, let us wish the best of luck to Mr. Reader in the new direction he decides to take the company.
New direction?
With the slowdown in dial.
Now, Doctor.
And the business going into the medical market, there's going to be some changes.
What the doctor is referring to is some of our larger customers are opening their own dial painting studios.
Which means less work for our girls here.
In the short run, it may be slower here, but the Waterbury Clock Company in Connecticut will need help setting up its new studio. We were planning to make this announcement next week, but I guess we'll make it now. Mrs. McNeil?
Yes, we'll be asking some of you girls to go on up there.
The work is supervisory in nature, which means more pay. Any girls in mind you have?
Louise Conlon was one, Lenny McCarthy, Sarah Deutsch, and Catherine Schraub. I'll have the entire list downstairs. I'll post it today.
All right, thank you. Well, seeing as you girls are all on the clock, I will leave you to your work.
Thank you, ladies, and my best wishes to you also.
And that's back to work with you girls.
You gonna do it, Catherine? You gonna take that job?
I don't know, Grace. Would you go all the way up to Connecticut?
I don't know. It's awful far from home, and Tommy would have a fit.
Oh, come on, Grace. It would be lots of fun. Irene?
Irene, are you all right?
Huh? Yeah. Yeah, why wouldn't I be all right? What?
Your mouth is bleeding.
$35 a week and she quits the place.
It's more to life than money.
That's what you say when you're young, Tom. But you and Grace get to be my age with a house full of your kids underfoot. You'll thank God for every penny you put by.
We got money put by.
How much?
Enough to get married.
It don't take much to get married on. Do you have enough to stay married on?
Let us get married. We'll find out.
Tom, are you still eating?
It's good.
Oh, you're gonna get sick.
Gotta keep up his strength. He works hard for his money.
Don't start, Ma.
I didn't say nothing. It's your father who hit the roof over it.
He didn't hit the roof.
You should have seen the man's face, Tom, when he heard Grace wasn't working no more. Most girls would give their eye teeth for a job like that. Good money, easy work, nice-looking fellows around the
You
plant.
didn't tell me about them, Grace.
Wasn't that many of them, not much to tell.
And she leaves it all behind for reasons unknown. I'm tired of it up there, she says. Are you tired of the paycheck, I says. Who needs a paycheck, she says. I got me a boyfriend to take me out Saturdays.
She said that?
You know very well I did not. And for your information, I got a new job. I start at the bank on Monday.
Oh yeah, the bank. And what's it pay?
Enough.
Enough. Always enough. You know what that means, Tom? It don't come close to what it pays up at the radium plant.
It's office work.
Office work. Well, I guess that means you'll be spending more money on clothes then.
Boy, she's really steamed at you.
I don't see what difference it makes as long as I'm working somewhere.
Don't make no difference to me. I just thought you liked it up there.
Of course I did. I worked there for 4 years.
So, I've been delivering mail almost 8 years and plan to keep on delivering mail another 20 or 30 years if I'm lucky. Nothing like steady work and a good pension to help you sleep at night.
Well, I don't have a pension and I sleep just fine.
I bet you do. So, how come you quit, Grace?
Well, work is slow and a lot of girls are quitting. Ever since Irene left, it just hasn't been as much fun. Besides, wouldn't you rather have a girlfriend who works at the bank?
Not as much as I'd like to have a wife who don't work anywhere.
Close your eyes, I got a surprise for you.
Oh yeah? You want me to pull the blinds?
Not that kind of surprise. Open your eyes.
Wallpaper.
For the baby's room.
Babies, Grace, you won't kiss me and you're talking about babies.
There will be babies eventually, Tommy.
Well, sure, but most girls get married before they decorate the nursery.
Plan ahead for once. Pick one.
They're both the same.
No, they aren't. This one has big flowers and that one has little flowers. So just pick one.
Is this some sort of test?
No, it's wallpaper.
This is a test.
It's just wallpaper. Pick one.
This one.
But I want you to like it too.
Wallpaper is wallpaper, Grace.
No, it isn't. You gotta pick something you can stand to look at for 20 years.
Same way you pick women?
Keep it up, smarty pants, and you won't ever get that kiss.
All right, this one, hands down.
I agree. A nice neutral yellow for if it's a boy or a girl. And in the meantime, maybe we can use the room for something else.
Something else? Like what?
Like a painting studio, maybe?
Like a painting studio, maybe? Haven't you got enough of painting at work?
Oh, that's not the kind of painting I like to do, Tommy. When I was in school, I used to paint watercolors. And ever since I went to work, I just haven't had enough time. What with helping Mom, watching the kids, so when we get married, I just want a little time to myself so I can paint watercolors, or oils, or portraits in oils. I could paint your portrait if you like.
Yeah, paint a big portrait for me. We'll hang in the outhouse. All our friends will come around and use the cans just so they can see it.
Oh, the way you talk sometimes.
Grace, if you want to paint pictures. I'm gonna stop you.
Well, you say that now, but once we get married, you'll change your tune.
Sure, I'll be whistling Dixie.
Wait till you come home one night. All wore out. Some Christmas maybe, and a dog got after you, and some old lady kept you waiting on her stoop, talking to you all about her grandchildren. And you didn't have the heart to tell her you can't leave. I know you, Tom. So you finally get home, all cranky and late besides, hungry, waiting your dinner. And where am I? I'm in the kitchen with my easel set up, drop cloth on the floor, paints all over the table, and your dinner nowhere to be found. What would you say then?
That'll be a picture of me you're painting.
I know what you'd say. Where's my dinner? That's what you'd say.
Well, sure, I'd just like to admire the painting on a full stomach is all. So, how to do? I pick the right wallpaper?
I don't know. Maybe I should go look at stripes.
Stripes, polka, Grace, I don't care. Let's just get married. You're plenty old enough. Just tell your mom we ain't waiting no more. We'll run off.
We can't just run off, Tommy. We gotta do it right. A nice church wedding with flowers and music, and then we'll take a week at the seashore, just us. And then we'll get settled in our own place. You'll see, it'll be worth it.
Your mouth hurt you?
Yeah, the dentist wants to take another tooth out in the back.
Well, what's a tooth?
Hazel Kuzler. Any relations to the rest?
Only by virtue of employment.
Except she's got a good lawyer.
Good lawyer. Knows how to write a good letter. Anyway, that lawyer.
And she no longer works here.
Left 6 months ago.
That makes 4 now.
3.
4 if you count Miss Maggia.
I wouldn't include her.
She worked here.
She also worked other places. And what she died from, you couldn't get that here. At least I don't think you can.
That's not funny, Charlie. Besides, it was just idle talk.
In my experience, there's usually something to the idle talk when it comes to girls like that.
Large family, was it?
Yes, Italians. The conditions they live in. 10, 12 people in 3 rooms. It's a wonder they don't all die of one infection or another.
So, 3 now, and how many dead?
Only Miss Magia, but I haven't heard from her people yet.
It's too late for them anyways. The statute of limitations is 2 years, but Miss Kuzer is another story. She's in a position to make trouble.
So long as I've been here, no one has so much as slipped on the floor, and now all of this?
All right, we're talking about what? 3, 4 girls? Out of how many hundreds that you've employed?
6, maybe 700 over the years.
Exactly. And some of them were sick when they got here. One girl you hired was a complete cripple. Her father had to carry her up to the studio every morning.
It doesn't matter how she got here. She was a fast worker and a very sweet little girl.
But she was in poor health.
She needed the work.
Arthur,
And it's not just about the money, it's to feel productive, to have a purpose. That's what work does, Charlie. It gives us purpose. I see no reason why we shouldn't hire girls like that.
When they come to us and blame us for getting sick, I think you should reconsider that policy.
Let's just see what Drinker has to say.
Shrinker.
He's a professor at the Harvard School of Industrial Hygiene.
He's the head of the department, and he's agreed to take a look at our operations.
Don't you think we're jumping the gun a bit hiring him?
6 girls have quit this week, and Mrs. McNeil says there's likely to be more.
Girls come and go all the time.
Charlie, it's never been like this. The girls, they're scared. We have to do something to calm them.
Letting Drinker examine them? That sounds like a recipe for mass hysteria.
We'll call it a routine physical.
Yes, companies have physicals all the time.
We'll have Dr. Drinker start next month.
In the meantime, I think we should make an offer to this Miss Kuzer.
Settle.
But there is no proof that her problems are related to us.
If she sues, trust me, you will not like the publicity, and neither will your investors.
You think it will affect the stock offering?
Don't you?
Wonderful. We'll open at 30 and close at 10.
Or not open at all.
Okay. But if we offer this girl something that will keep her quiet,
It would be a condition of the settlement.
maybe we ought to do it.
What if some lawyer has a racket going and he finds girls and convinces them into making suits and then we reward him for his larceny?
Unless Miss Kuzer genuinely believes that she got sick here.
Yes, it could be as Charlie says. She comes from a large family, not great education, not a lot of resources.
A few $100 make a big difference to a girl like that.
Yes, pay a few medical bills, pay off some doctors, and from what it sounds like, she doesn't have much long to live anyways.
So, really, it would be a gesture of decency then.
Exactly.
What do you think we should offer?
March 24, 1924, Jackie Youngwood with the New Word Ledger. Nancy Jane Harlan for the New York Graphic, Graphic's only girl reporter.
Could radium water pose a cure for crippling arthritis? Scientific studies suggest a connection.
Dateline, Orange, New Jersey. Radium water products offer a miracle cure for crippling arthritis.
Some patients report a significant abatement in their symptoms.
Mrs. Jeremy Michaels of the Bronx tells how radium water transformed her life.
My pain got so bad I could hardly bend over.
Some patients report only mild relief in their symptoms.
This poor, brave woman could not even bend down to kiss her little ones goodnight.
And I got 3, let me tell you, they're a handful.
Dr. Harrison Martland, Chief Medical Examiner of the Excess County, comments on the study.
Preliminary, at best.
Your recommendations, Dr. Martland?
I advise further study, definitely further study.
Then Mrs. Michaels tried Radiathor.
They said it helped my rheumatism, so I drank a bottle a day for a month. It wasn't cheap, but I was desperate.
Well, a test sample is questionably small.
Well, first off, I felt like I'd been hit by a bolt of lightning. It was that powerful. Now I drink a bottle a week just to maintain my health. I hang the laundry and scrub the kitchen floor as soon as I've always done.
Dr. J.A. Balium Orange, inventor
inventor of Radiator, reports a strong demand for his products. Dr. William Bailey of Orange announces sales of Radiator exceed 100,000 cases worldwide.
Radiation is one of the most powerful agents of modern science. I learned Radiator myself and I can vouch for its power.
At $1 a bottle?
Worth every penny. Yes, mine too was the picture of lethargy before I discovered the amazing, vitalizing qualities of radium water. And now look at me! I'm nearly 50 years old! 5 years ago, a man in his 30s!
You rather look a man in his 30s.
Well, thank you.
A testament to the tonic's potency?
Or to the silly's creativity.
Radiator! It's perpetual sunshine, baby!
And a perpetual money-making machine for its inventor. Is there no end to what science can do?
Maybe we should have made an appointment.
I don't need no appointment for this.
It's a busy place, Catherine. If you don't have an appointment, maybe you should make one.
I shouldn't need no appointment for this.
I'm sorry, I don't find anything under shop.
No, it's under Rudolph.
Rudolph?
Irene Rudolph, the girl that I'm asking about.
Did she file the complaint?
No, no, the dentist did.
The dentist?
Dr. Ness, Irene's dentist. He said that she might have phossy jaw, so he was going to complain to the health department about it. But when I asked him, he said that he hadn't heard nothing, and it's been more than 6 months now.
Phossy jaw,
Yes!
Catherine, maybe it's like your doctor said, a blood infection.
Yeah, but that's the thing. What was it from? What gave it to her?
From dirt. You get infections from dirt.
From dirt? Her face puffed out like a pumpkin. Her jaw round so bad she couldn't eat nothing. You think you get that from dirt? You get it from phosphorus. They're telling everybody that's radium the paint that makes it glow. But it's really phosphorus.
Catherine, you can't really believe all that.
You saw her, Grace.
Catherine, if it was like you said, they'd have never let you work there in the first place, Catherine.
Sure, they'd have shut the place down.
Shut it down who? Who's gonna shut it down?
I don't know, the county?
Honestly, Grace, you're such a ninny.
Hey.
How are they gonna shut it down if they don't know about it? Ever think of that?
Come on.
It's all right, Tommy.
She's got no business talking to you that way.
She's just upset.
Upset? She's going around the bench. She probably thinks you're dumping arsenic in the drinking water. Actually, they're kidnapping babies and using them to stoke the furnace.
Oh, go ahead and laugh. You won't be laughing so hard once you come in here 6 from now asking after Grace.
Catherine, it's just toothache.
Just a toothache, Grace. That's how we'll start for Irene. Just a toothache. You wait. One morning you'll wake up, your gums are hurting so bad you won't be able to open your mouth. The pain, so weak and so sick you won't be able to stand up. The pain's so bad you won't be able to sleep, and your face so swollen you won't be able to stand.
Grace is fine, right, Gracie?
Irene Rudolph?
That's it.
She works at the radium plant?
Yes, ma'am.
Nothing.
Huh?
The company is in full compliance.
Give me that.
Miss, really?
Who's Miss Young?
That's the state health officer, miss.
The paint is a harmless compound of radium and zinc?
As I was saying, the analysis shows there's no phosphorus in the paint. There's no phosphorus anywhere in the plant.
There. You see, Catherine?
Miss Young toured the plant herself. I'm sorry.
Well, time for some lunch then.
I want to file another complaint.
They already did an investigation.
I want to file another complaint!
Catherine, These people are awful busy.
I want to file another complaint.
I just don't see what good it's gonna do, making a fuss this way.
Please, three surgeries, and they wanted to cut her up again. She finally said no. She knew what was left of her jaw was rotten so bad. The smell was terrible, and the worst of it is, I couldn't look at her. Irene was so afraid of being left alone. But when she died in the middle of the night, no one was with her.
I'm sorry. Can we have another form? My friend wants to file another complaint.
Another complaint? Is the girl sick?
No, she died.
Wait, right here.
Harriet, you'll come down from that tree at once.
I'm waiting for Papa!
Fine. When he gets here, I'll send him up after you.
There he is! Papa! Papa!
Harriet!
Harriet, come down at once.
Papa, I can see clear the church from here!
Oh, can you? Can you see your grandfather?
No, but I can see the schoolhouse.
You think this is funny?
She's 9 years old, Diane.
Harriet!
Tell you what, she has no one to yell to, she won't yell.
Well, they can hear her all over the neighborhood.
Can they?
When she comes down, I want you to talk to her.
She's 9 years old, Diane.
Trying to raise a daughter, not a son.
Time is on your side. In a few years, she'll lose interest in climbing trees and gain a fascination with boys.
Is that supposed to scare me?
And then when the time comes, you'll be frantic because she no longer wants to climb trees.
What's this?
Something to give you vitality.
You think I need
No,
vitality?
it's just what it says on the bottle.
Is it pure?
We're the supplier. Do you want to try some?
Well, give me vitality, how could I refuse? Oh, your father came by to see me today.
Another hard luck case?
4 children at home, all under the age of 6.
Let's see, the mother in the hospital with cancer.
Yes.
The father laid off from, let's see, the brickyard.
Yes.
Through no fault of his own.
How did you know?
Dad was around to see me the other day. It's never enough with him to have a normal ambition in life. You always have to have a mission.
And you do.
No, I have a business plan.
You can't tell me you wouldn't help this man if you could.
If I could, I would, but I can't give him a job that doesn't exist.
Oh, what about Dan Lehman?
Dan?
Maybe he could use some help.
Dan needs trained technicians, not a bricklayer. Why don't you send him to Mrs. Middleton? Don't you women have a social club for that kind of thing?
You mean the Women's Club Civics Committee?
Right.
Yes, the club takes an interest in such cases, but we're not an employment service either. That's why I thought maybe you could help.
Don't you love being married to the company president?
It has its advantages.
Ever think of trading it in?
Do you?
This morning, I got my shoes shined, and as I watched the boy work, I thought, this is quite the enterprise. The work walks in, the work walks out, there's no inventory, no warehouse, no health inspectors, no...
And you traded all for your own shoe shine stand?
Less headaches that way.
So you're in one of those moods again. What's it this time? Can't be the market. That went up today.
So you're reading the financial pages
I
now.
have to entertain myself somehow. So what happened? You're acting strange.
Am I? I'm sorry.
You can tell me, you know.
It's really nothing. We're going to have our best year yet.
So it's the prospect of success that you find so disheartening?
I'll grab my checkbook.
What for?
You're a bricklayer.
Arthur, he needs a job, not charity. Oh, what is it your father always says? A working man needs to work. It wears
It
on...
wears on his soul not to. it's a matter of his soul, that's different. I'll have him talk to Dan.
Arthur.
No promises, Diane.
No promises.
To your health.
How long you have this drainage?
About a week or two. It hurts something awful, Dr. Neff.
Anything else bothering you?
My back hurts some too.
Your back now. You seen your regular doctor yet?
He says it's just nerves.
Nerves?
For my wedding and all.
This ain't no case of nerves. I hope you told him that.
Well, what do you think?
I think you better schedule that surgery.
Can't we just push it off a little bit till after my wedding?
You don't have that surgery, there won't be no wedding.
What?
Mrs. Fryer, I want you to listen to me very carefully. Your jawbone is decaying. That black pus oozing out your gums is the bone itself.
That's impossible.
To Mr. Arthur Reeder, U.S. Radium Corporation, from Dr. Cecil Drinker, Harvard University, enclosed to John report.
Finally.
We believe the trouble in your plant is due to the radium.
Radium?
It can't be as bad as all that.
This can't be.
Put off the surgery and you'll develop a septic condition. It could be fatal.
The blood changes in your employees can be explained on no other grounds.
I saved all of my money for my wedding.
I got a suggestion for you. Go down to the plant and explain to them your situation.
Go to the company?
Photographic films carried by employees show heavy fogging.
Wants to see what kind of shape you're in?
This has to be a mistake.
They gotta feel obligated to help you out.
We realize no proof can be offered at present.
I don't see how they could refuse.
But in view of the material and literature...
This is impossible.
Look, if you want, I'll write to them. They can just work through me, pay my bills directly.
You think they'd do that?
They got a moral obligation, don't you think?
I guess so.
We'll do it right now. Get some paper.
Charlie. Charlie. This has to be a mistake. There's no way this is right.
You must have overlooked something.
If it's the radium that's causing these illnesses, it should occur generally throughout the plant.
One would expect.
There's several hundred milligrams of radium in giant vats at all times, several hundred in the ore, several hundred in crystallizing.
And the whole backyard is full of tailings.
The radium is present in good amounts across the entire plant.
Maybe it's some combination of the radium and the zinc.
Or something unique to our plant alone.
Bacteria in the brushes.
It can't be the radium. There are hundreds of application sites across the country and no one has reported anything like this.
The Department of Labor wants to see the report.
Yes, I'm aware.
What do we tell them? How do we answer them? This tears us to pieces.
If they want to see the report, we'll send them this.
1 page.
It's the most important page.
Drinker will never stand for this.
Drinker works for us. It's a proprietary report. What we do with it, it's our own business.
It's the Department of Labor, Arthur.
We just need a little time, Charlie. Just a little time.
They could shut us down for this.
Oh, they're scientists, government men. They'll never know what it takes to run a business. You know how many times I walked into Von Sachaki's office and he turned a deaf ear to everything I told him? But we showed him, Charlie. We showed him. Look at us now. We're the largest single supplier of radium in the world. Largest in the world. And you know what it took for us to get here? Do you think that I'm going to stand idly by and let our good name get dragged through the mud? Trust me, Charlie.
It's awful nice of you to come all this way.
Not at all, my dear, not at all.
Well, I told my surgeon you was coming over, so he gave me the results of my blood work.
Excellent.
And so?
I must say, Miss Fryer, your blood looks better than mine.
It does?
Well, that's what happens to an old woman who smokes. Now tell me, what else is troubling you?
My feet and my back mostly. I've had to wear a brace for a while.
So I see. And this started before you left the company, or after?
After I left. Dr. Neff says that it has all to do with the radium plant. There's another girl I used to work with. She died from it. Irene Rudolph?
Oh, yes. Terrible thing. Vincent's angina.
What's that?
That's an ulcerated condition of the mouth, my dear.
From the radium?
Oh, no. A rare and unfortunate result of poor dental care. So let this be a lesson to you. Always brush your teeth.
There was something else I read about in the papers about other girls getting sick. There was another girl in the hospital in New York. I worked with her for a little while, and the doctors don't know what's wrong, and they've never seen anything like it, and I just think...
Miss Fryer, don't tell me you pay any attention to those papers. Those stories are not scientific.
But what about...
Reporters are not scientific. They do not follow scientific methods. They write to sell, not to educate. The scientist isn't concerned with what sells. He is concerned with the truth. He undertakes years of painstaking study to arrive at an understanding of intricate and natural processes that most people could never presume to comprehend. You would do well to listen to science and ignore the nonsense that is printed in the newspapers. Because I can tell you right now, radium has absolutely nothing to do with what's ailing you.
It doesn't?
Not in the least.
Then what is ailing me?
Poor diet, Miss Fryer, poor diet.
But Dr. Neff said that
Dr. Neff is a dentist, not a physician. What you have is a vitamin deficiency. You must eat more fresh fruit.
Hard to do that in the winter.
And raw meat as well. That will help with the anemia. Raw calf's liver particularly. Cook it if you must, but eat it twice a week, at a minimum. No, Miss Fryer. I am a scientist, and I take purely scientific interest in this situation. By allowing me to examine you, you've helped me advance my own studies. I thank you. Call me anytime, day or night.
Okay, Dr. Flynn, thanks.
Happy to be of service, my dear.
Dr. Francis Flynn, PhD, Physiology, Columbia University. PhD? That's not a real doctor.
My findings, Mr. Reader.
She's seen half a dozen girls he used to work at the plant. Word I hear, she's working for the company.
An objective evaluation, I trust?
The source of my funding has no bearing on my research.
And I let that girl examine me.
I never examined her, per se. It was not a medical examination, per se.
Nevertheless, you were able to offer this young woman some useful advice?
I did my best for her.
It's the same thing with every girl. Nothing wrong with you.
Your blood is better than mine, she says.
And how are you doing on the rest of the report?
The animal studies I conducted reveal no adverse effects from radium. The problem, as you suspected, is one of personal hygiene only.
I just don't see how somebody could do that to you. Straight out lie to you like that.
Nothing surprises me.
It's just like you say, Catherine. They'll say anything. They'll do anything.
Except the right thing.
Well, we're gonna make them, Catherine. Somebody's gonna hear about this.
I am so thankful, Dr. Flynn, but I am particularly grateful that this young woman you examined is doing much better.
Oh, no, didn't examine her. I merely consulted with her.
All the same. You say she's doing much better, though?
From what I can see, Mr. Reader, she's on the road to recovery.
Excellent.
Here is my statement of fees and expenses.
I will have Dr. Lee write you a check.
And so, I leave you now with this one thought. Ladies and gentlemen, we do not have to accept injustice. We can use our powers as consumers to influence those who wish to profit from our patronage. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Miss Wiley, and thank you to the New Jersey's Consumers League for another job well done. All right. This concludes our program for this evening. I don't believe we have time for questions. However, I do hope you will join us next door for some light refreshments.
Do you want anything?
My throat's a little dry.
Oh, can I help you, miss?
I just wanted to talk to Miss Wiley.
You're not a member of the women's club?
No,
Are you a
ma'am.
guest of a member?
No, ma'am, but Miss
Then I'm
Wiley...
sure Miss Wiley would be happy to see you during her regular business hours.
I'm not leaving till I see Miss Wiley.
Mrs. Middleton, it's all right. It's fine. You must be Miss Fryer.
Yes, Miss Young at the health department said I should come see you, and I know I should have stopped by your office, but I've just missed so much work lately, and I can't miss any more.
No need to apologize. I've been meaning to call upon you myself. Please, sit down.
Me and Catherine, we wrote to the company, but we never heard nothing back. So we talked to a few lawyers, but they said they can't do anything because it's been so long since we left the radium plant. Something about the law won't allow it.
The statute of limitations?
Right. Well, there was one lawyer who said he would try to sue anyhow, only he wanted $1,000 up front, and I already spent everything I saved up for my wedding on hospitals and dentists and doctors, and they still don't know what's wrong exactly. And Tom, that's my fella, he says he don't care, and he just wants to get married anyhow, only I can't help but feel like I'm not doing him any good like this, Miss Wiley, and I just think if I can get my compensation, I can settle my debts, and maybe I wouldn't feel like I'm saddling him with so much burden. I'm sorry to rattle at you about these things, but I'm so tired of being pushed around.
I don't blame you.
Well, Miss Young said that you have some sort of, what did she say, clout?
I'd like to think so. We've certainly had our share of successes.
So, can you help us?
Tell me, Miss Fryer, how far are you willing to go with this?
Ma'am?
Suppose I do find you a lawyer, somebody who'd be willing to take you on a contingency. You wouldn't have to pay him unless you won. Would you be willing to sue?
I want my compensation.
Of course you do. Now, suppose the company says, here, Miss Fryer, here's some money. Only you were to tell no one of what we've agreed to here. You were to say nothing of how you got sick.
You mean keep it quiet?
Yes.
Well, that don't seem right.
It isn't right, but it's what they'll do. They'll try to buy your silence. Is it for sale, Miss Fryer?
No, ma'am, it isn't.
Good.
So, can you help us?
I think I can help you, only you're going to have to take a few chances.
Chances?
If you'd be willing to put aside your own need, just for the moment, I think we'd be able to put a stop to this company. Stop them dead in their tracks.
What do I have to do?
We start by putting you on page 1.
Page 1. You wanted to talk to the newspaper?
Not one newspaper, many, many.
Well, is that really
newspapers.
necessary? I mean, all we want is for Grace to get her compensation. And
Tommy, just let her finish.
I understand your concerns, but this company has already shown that it's willing to go to great lengths to protect itself. No, I'm afraid the only way we'll get to them is to hit them where it matters most, their public image. If we can get every newspaper in America to tell your story on how you suffered, on how the company denied all responsibility, believe me, Miss Fryer, when that happens, Arthur Reeder will come to the table with his hat in his hands.
All right, Miss Wiley.
I know it's frightening.
It's okay. Right now, I'm more angry than I am scared.
Good. You hang on to that anger. You're gonna need it.
Ma'am?
Public sympathy, Miss Fryer. It is our greatest weapon. But the public doesn't have much sympathy for an angry woman.
December 4, 1927, Jackie Youngwood for the Newark Ledger, Nancy Jane Harlan for the New York Graphic, on the strange case of the Radium Girls. who claim they were poisoned at the hands of their employer and now seek their day in court.
$250,000.
That's the price tag on their suffering.
$250,000?
Well, if you ask me, it's all a sham.
What do you mean? Those girls are very sick.
Sick of work, sham.
Doctors say Radium girls only have a year left to live. Only 1 year to live and 250 grand to spend. What would you do with that kind of money? What would you do to ease your last suffering days on Earth? What would you do with $250,000?
I'd buy a wardrobe, like Irene Castle's. I'd give it all to charity. And then I'd travel around the world, first class, with all of my friends.
I would play the stock market.
I would buy my wife a fur coat and a diamond the size of New Hampshire.
I'd use it to pay my medical bills and pay off the second mortgage on my house, the one my father took out to pay for my last operation.
Pretty Grace Fryer sits at home, suffering bravely through this entire ordeal, struggling valiantly to keep up her flagging spirits for the sake of her family and her friends.
It hurts to smile. I try to smile because I know if I don't, I'll go crazy.
Tell us, Miss Fryer, how does it feel knowing you have so little time left?
I try not to think about it.
I must get to you sometime.
Knowing what you've been through, and the company's being fat off your labor.
And all they have to say about it is,
No comment! Don't you just want to punch someone?
Oh, no, that won't do any good. I just like to think about how it's gonna be when justice prevails. Maybe I can do something nice for my folks. Maybe I'll send them on a trip. They never did have no honeymoon.
What a fine example of womanhood! We can only aspire to bear our crosses in life as nobly as this young girl!
Mr. Barry, I must object to this kind of histrionics.
Mr. Markley, I had nothing to do with that.
I've been in the game a long time, Mr. Barry, and when I see a story like this move over the wires, I'm not so naive to believe that a plaintiff's attorney had nothing to do with it.
What's your proposal, Mr. Markley?
$1,500 for each girl.
$1,500.
That's not even a year's wages.
We think it's very generous since your case won't survive the statute of limitations.
This is a case in equity, sir. The Chancery Court will come to a different conclusion.
The Chancery Court can't rewrite the law, and the law is clear. 2 years from the date of the injury, your clients are out of time.
2 years from the date the cause of injury is discovered.
Very creative, very clever, Mr. Barry. I have to admire your imagination, but you have a long way to go before you convince the judge.
And in the meantime, Mr. Markley, the press will continue to take great interest in the story and the company's complete indifference to its workers.
And no doubt that will be great press for the Consumers League, and you accuse us of exploiting these girls.
You're the one hiding behind the statute of limitations.
Miss Wiley.
You know very well the law never anticipated a situation like this. These girls were dying years before anyone knew the cause.
Before anyone knew. Does that include the U.S. Radium Corporation, Miss Wiley? When, or if I should say if, this case goes to court, I only hope that's your opening argument, Mr. Barry. You will have made our defense. See you in court.
The arrogance of that man!
What is the purpose of these articles, Miss Wiley?
Public sympathy, Mr. Barry. That is the engine of reform.
You're antagonizing the company.
Then the strategy is working.
How does it help the girls to read in a dozen different newspapers that they have only so little time to live?
Mr. Barry, surely you can see that the U.S. Radium Corporation cares nothing about the girls as poison. But the average housewife in Orange cares very deeply. So do millions of other women across the country. These women shop, they buy watches. Markley can be as smug as he likes, but the Consumers League will only lead to one outcome, and he knows it. That's why he was here today.
I only hope you're right, Miss Wiley.
Public sympathy, Mr. Barry. Wait and see.
Dear Miss Shaw, I read of your sad story in the Boston Globe, and am so sorry for your plight. It seems that in this time of rapid advancement, the well-being of the average worker is, well, overlooked. I would like to offer you girls the key to my own good health at the age of 92. It is called Christian Science.
Dear Miss Fryer, I read of your woeful situation in the Atlantic Constitution, and I'm prepared to offer you a solution.
Venicide! A wonder tonic from all natural ingredients! Venicide will restore your health and vitality! Why, we print up your girls' electric supply of venicide. It's just for the low price and privilege of the exclusive SCR files of advertisements!
Dear girl, I read about you in the Villains Gazette, and I run 100 cattle up here. You're very fine by myself. I've always longed for a companion, and am well equipped to offer you a comfortable home in your final hours. A girl like you has suffered so much. Don't you think you deserve some fleeting hours of happiness? Sincerely, your admirer, Leonard F. Watkins. P.S. Enclosed is my picture.
Look at this man, Catherine. He even sent a picture. Are you all right?
She's bleeding again.
Shall I go get the nurse?
It's done this before. It'll stop.
Maybe we should go.
Don't go.
Don't you need to sleep?
Who can sleep? I never sleep.
Well, you'll sleep tomorrow.
Yeah, might not wake up.
Of course you'll wake up.
Not if it don't go well. Sometimes you don't come out if it's so good. My mother's cousin, she went in for her appendix. She never came home again.
Well, you just can't think that way. I mean, look at these letters, Catherine. Miss Wiley said people would be on our side, and she sure was right. I mean, this one is from California.
What if we don't win?
Of course we'll win.
But what if we don't? My father will lose his house, we'll be on the street. You'll be on the street. Your father must owe thousands. And you and Tom won't ever get married. How can you stand it, Grace?
Catherine, please.
How can Tom stand it? Don't you ever wonder, Grace? I never hear him complain.
Catherine! As soon as the judge hears our testimony, he's gonna rule for us. All they have to do is take one look at us. It'll be over in a day.
Think so?
Sure. I mean, once they see what kind of shape we're in, we'd be awful hard to ignore, don't you think?
That'd be something then. To see the look on Mr. Reader's face when we get up on the stand.
Want to read some more letters?
Yeah.
They didn't have no vanilla, so I got some chocolate.
Took you long enough.
And don't get on me. I had 6 people stop me along the way. All of them reporters and all of them asking after you.
Waiting for me to die.
Nobody is waiting for you to die.
It's true. One of them called my mother asking if I died. When she said, no, you sounded disappointed.
Try a little of this. Maybe you'll feel better.
Evening, girls! How about a picture?
For the love of Mike, what are you doing?
I'm here for the graphics exclusive on the girls.
Exclusive? What are you talking about?
$5,000, that's what? What do you say, Grace? Think you could use $5,000?
I don't understand.
Have you heard of Bernard McFadden?
Oh, that faith healer?
Herbalist, Mr. Creator, herbalist. Bernard McFadden's patented herbal therapy is just the thing these girls need to get back on their feet. And the graphic will pay for it. All we ask is for the exclusive rights to their story from here on out.
So you want to pay us to go see Bernard McFadden?
Easy money, yeah.
Let me see.
They're serious, Grace.
The graphic always does business on the up and up.
I don't know.
Grace, what does your father own a house?
I don't know exactly.
And that last hospital bill, that was a couple hundred at least.
At least.
Maybe we should think about this.
And all we do is talk to this herbalist fella.
Well, we need to get our money's worth. A series of regular features with pictures surrounding the course of your treatment, your illness, your recovery, or otherwise, depending on how it goes.
And then you just print whatever you want?
Maybe we add some color. Everybody adds color.
Don't sound so bad.
Maybe we should talk to Miss Wiley about it.
Miss Wiley, what's it to her? You're the ones with bills to pay.
It just don't feel right doing something like this without Miss Wiley knowing.
Oh, but you're a big girl, Grace. Can't you do things on your own?
Of course I can.
If it came from the company.
The company owes us a lot more than that.
If you ever see it.
Maybe we should do it, Grace. It just don't feel right.
You're gonna talk to the reporters anyhow. Why not get something out of it?
He's right, you know. Why should you give your story away when people are dying to read it? Believe me, you girls could cash in big. The day we ran the feature on you, bang! Sold out of every copy at every newsstand. Everybody can sympathize with the plight of some poor, sick girls facing certain death with no hope of fulfillment in motherhood.
My friend is tired. She needs her rest. We would like you to go now.
Grace, at least think about it.
Sure, think it over. I understand you're worried about what people might say, but hey, you gotta look out for your own interests here. Why shouldn't you get a little something out of all this? Look out for number one, that's the way. Everybody else is out to get what they can for sure. Why should you sit back and keep your nose clean when everybody else is up to their elbows in it?
Gentlemen, I have treated a number of the girls who claim that they got sick here. One of them, the girl's jaw had rotted so bad, I was able to remove it from her mouth just by lifting it out with my finger, as y'all can see here.
It's all right, Dr. Flynn. You can put that away.
Okay, perhaps you'd prefer to look at it on the x-ray, Mr. Reader. Now, this was quite an expensive case to treat. Never did get no compensation. The girl died. Her family never paid.
I sympathize with you, Dr. Neff, but what has this got to do with us?
Here it is straight. There are going to be a lot more girls claiming that they got sick here. I'm proposing that we do business. You know, you scratch my back, I scratch yours, that sort of a thing.
I'm not following.
Suppose you was to give me a list of the girls who worked here. I can see to it there are no more lawsuits.
You think you could cure them?
No, not a cure. I'm saying you scratch my back, I scratch yours.
How so, Dr. Neff?
Well, first I would examine them for radium necrosis. Then I would come up with a favorable diagnosis, pyorrhea, say, or something else. Most of the cases will just die a natural death anyway, and the rest we can put off until the statute of limitations kicks in, and it's too late to sue.
And you'll convince them they don't have a case against the company.
Exactly. And if it ever did come to trial, I could testify that it was some other problem. Be strong testimony coming from the dentist who treated them.
What makes you think these girls will come to you?
Well, they'll flock to me if I don't charge them anything.
Because we'd be paid.
Exactly. We understand each other, Mr. Reader.
So what are you asking for, Dr. Neff?
I need about $10,000 for my trouble so far. And for every girl I'd agree to see from here on out. $2 per visit, plus expenses for x-rays and other things. I'm proposing a gentleman's agreement, better off if it's not in writing.
No.
Okay, we'll put it in writing then.
We'll do nothing of that kind. Your plan is immoral and will have nothing to do
you
with
say?
it.
Oh, you're fine when you talk about morals, Mr. Reader.
Certainly.
When you got your own handguns ready to testify?
So expert witnesses.
Expert witnesses? Paid lackeys is more like it. And believe me, none of them's got the information I've got.
Oh, you're threatening me.
Not a threat, Mr. Reader, just a business proposition. I'm looking out for my own interests the same way you look out for yours.
Mr. Lee, see Dr. Neff to the door.
All right. When this all shakes out, it'll not be me holding short end of the stick.
Gentlemen, I want you all to make statements about what happened this morning. We'll send them to the State Dental Society, and then Dr. Neff will see who's playing ball and who isn't. Why is that?
We are in a very bad situation here, Mr. Reader.
Mr. Lee says we're having trouble getting girls to work here.
Yes, and we've lost some contracts because of it.
And it's only going to get worse.
The papers are full of stories about those girls.
Yeah, making them out to be saints.
And what defense can we put out?
Except to say that we'll try our case in court.
And in court of public opinion, we've already lost.
Perhaps we should reconsider. It certainly wouldn't hurt to have a testimony coming from a dentist who treated those girls.
Neff could be very helpful to us. We should retain him.
Retain him as what? An extortionist?
As an expert.
Like Dr. Flynn.
Dr. Flynn is an expert at Columbia University. Dr. Neff is a neighborhood dentist.
Dr. Flynn treated some of the girls, didn't he?
He didn't treat them, he examined them.
No, he dispensed medical advice.
It wasn't medical advice, it was a scientific opinion. An expert's opinion.
How about this? We retain that, but we don't keep him on the stands, just to keep him from testifying for the women.
That's the most important thing.
Yes, I agree, that's the most important thing.
Would you agree to something like that, Mr. Reader?
Mr. Reader? Mr. Reader?
Edward, we can't simply do this. We can't get in bed with a man like Neff.
Arthur is right. We don't want to do business with Neff.
Neff could hurt us. We have to take steps.
Well, Neff has already given us everything we need. That is new evidence. This is grounds for postponement.
Three months to study an x-ray, it's outrageous. And did you see the girls? Their eyes were like saucers, staring at me, terrified.
Mr. Barry.
How are they gonna hold up 3 more months? Catherine Schwab could barely make it into the courtroom today, and Grace, she was trying so hard not to cry. But of course, I had all the answers. Go home, girls. Get some rest, girls. That's the best I could do, get some rest.
It's a difficult
I don't
thing,
understand
isn't it?
people like Markley. And Reader, how do they play this type of game with those poor girls sitting right there?
Received
You
something
think the
that might
company
help
would be
explain.
eager to get rid of this with the kind of publicity this has gotten, but Markley seems to enjoy the sport of it. What he can get away with is so cold, very cold.
Mr. Barry.
What's this?
It's from Catherine Drinker, Miss Cecilia Drinker of Harvard. She's an industrial hygienist. She worked with Dr. Drinker on the study of the radium plant. It was a joint effort, actually.
Thank you, Miss Wiley, but we've already seen this. There's nothing in it to help us.
You've only seen part of it, Mr. Barry. Please. This is the full report. I received it this morning. Mrs. Drinker has been studying our story very closely in the papers, and she was deeply disturbed on what she found in the last article of the Ledger. You know, the one where Lee says her study clears the company?
He doctored the report, Reader doctored the report?
Yes, apparently he took out one page listing the blood conditions of a dozen employees and passed it off as the whole thing. Doesn't look so bad by itself, does it? But in context, it's a somewhat different story.
We can use this.
Yes, the judge should be very impressed.
The judge, Miss Wiley, I'm not going to wait around to make use of this. I want you to call that contact you have in New York World, and if Reader won't let us present about it in the courtroom, then he can read about it in the newspaper.
January 12, 1928, Jackie Youngwood here from the Newark Ledger.
Nancy Jane Harlan for the New York Graphic.
Radium girls go to court today.
Radium girls knock at the doors of justice. Will they be heard?
These poor injured girls face pain,
disfigurement,
ruin,
and death. And as the clock ticks away the precious moments,
a hearing begins at Chancery Court,
where the U.S. Radium Corporation demands a postponement.
Plainfield's attorney, Raymond Berry, makes a shocking disclosure,
showing that the company lied to the Department of Labor,
showing that they distorted the results of a Harvard study,
concealing the ill effects of its product.
Read all about it in the Ledger, your first source of news.
Read about it in the Graphic. We care because you care.
Is it bad?
You didn't read it?
I make a point not to these days.
Only other people would do the same. Mrs. Mitchell from across the street, she walked right past me this morning. Didn't say a word to me. I know she saw me. And the women at the market, and the green grocer, the way they glanced at each other. And at the club, Mrs. Middleton and the other ladies. Wait.
Why don't you put that away? Read the journal instead.
Someone at the club today actually had the nerve to say to me, "Is it true? Is it true?" she said. "Did your husband really poison those women?" "Mrs. Cowles," I said, "if you think it's true, then why would you speak to me at all? I certainly would not associate with a woman whose husband did such things."
Why do you still go there then, if that's the way people are?
I've been a member for years.
What do you want me to say, Diane? We knew we were poisoning people, but we were making too much money, and so we couldn't stop it. Is that what you want me to say?
I certainly don't want you to say such things.
And if it were true, or especially if it were true,
Is it true?
is that what you think?
What would you like me to think?
Goodness, Diane, don't you see what's going on? It's Von Sachaki. He's behind it all. He's jealous of our success, and he's feeding information to the consumers league so that they can railroad us.
Why would the consumers?
It's a bunch of radical women, do-gooders. Half of them are Reds, probably socialists. Same thing as that club you're in.
What?
All you women think you can go around and fix the world's
I can't,
problems
I'm
while your
sorry.
husbands go off and actually make a living. You're gonna quit that club.
Quit the
And
club?
stop talking to that idiot, Mrs. Middleton. She
You're not
doesn't know
making any
anything.
sense.
None of these women know anything. You don't know anything!
Did you lie to the Department of Labor?
What?
Did you lie?
I didn't lie. I didn't agree with drinkers'
Arthur!
I have a fiduciary duty to the company.
I can't listen to this.
Diana, I have articles, I have documents with people with tumors the size of baseballs. Radium therapy. The tumors are gone. Diane.
I'm tired. I'm going upstairs.
We save lives, Diane. We make lives better. Mild radium therapy invigorates. You can't believe that I'm made out to be a liar. You can't believe that I'm made out to poison people. Can you?
No.
You know I would never do anything to hurt you or Harriet.
I know.
Then
13 girls have died!
Diane, people die all the time. It's in the newspaper every week. Young, old, infants, children younger than Harriet die every day.
But they worked for you!
They worked other places too, Diane. I have an article from Columbia University. An expert in industrial hygiene says there's no correlation between our plant and these illnesses. Do you want me to find you that article?
Then what could the cause be?
I don't know. I don't know what. We've done everything we can to find out, but no one knows. Diane, please believe me. If you don't believe me, then none of this means anything.
Oh, Arthur.
Do you remember what you told me the day I told my father I wasn't going into the ministry?
You can do as much good in a boardroom as you can in a church.
You remember?
You think I'd forget?
I was such a scared kid, and my father, he was an icon. If it wasn't for you, I don't think I would have been able to stand up to him.
I'm sure you would have, Arthur.
And ever since then, he's been looking for signs. He's been looking for signs that my soul is lost. You don't think that my soul is lost, do you, Diane?
Arthur, you're a good man.
You save lives, Diane.
You save lives.
But it's all been for you. Everything I've done has been for you. You know that.
I know.
Oh, please don't let that be another reporter. Don't get the door. Arthur!
Is that Mr. Lee?
Charlie.
I just got off the telephone with a reporter from the Ledger.
This couldn't wait until the morning.
I'm sorry. Good evening.
Mr. Lee.
It's Dr. Lee.
Dan?
He's dead.
What?
He died this morning.
That can't be. I just saw him last week.
He was just here for cards. A month ago, they were just here.
Martlin's already done the autopsy. He says it was a severe anemia.
He's blaming the radium.
The Ledger's going to run it on page 1. I told the reporter we'd have a statement by 8 o'clock. That's when he needs it, so he can run tomorrow.
When are the services?
Sorry?
The services, when are they?
I don't know.
Diane, send flowers.
I'll call Louise.
Yes, call Louise.
Oh, poor Louise. We should go and see her right now.
Go see her.
I wouldn't do that.
Why ever not?
She's planning to sue.
Louise?
The reporter from the Ledger told me she's filing a wrongful death action. I worked up a statement for the Ledger. Company chemist for 8 years, always in poor health, recently in
But Dan was never sickly. He was always sailing or on the golf course or in his garden. Arthur, he kept the most beautiful garden.
Charlie, can we deal with this in the morning, please? Of course.
Sorry to bring you such bad news, Mrs. Reader. Good night.
Good night, Mr.
Charlie can be a bit excessive at times, but we have to say something. I don't know what, but we have to say something to shareholders.
It's all right. You needn't explain yourself.
Sometimes it's necessary.
It's all right. We're going to throw this away now.
There's a case under the sink.
And we'll throw that away too. We'll have no more of that in this house.
I'll get it. Diane. I'm in too far to quit.
I really didn't expect you to.
February 21st, 1928. To Mr. Raymond Berry, from Harrison Martlet, Medical Examiner, Essex County. We have examined the remains of the deceased, Amelia Maja. Our study reveals the following. Large quantities of radioactive substances have been found in the upper jaw, the lower jaw, and the lumbar vertebrae. No evidence of syphilis was found.
Body is radioactive! Bones of dead girl kick off gamma rays! Catherine Wiley with the Consumers League Department declares new evidence showed company lied.
Dr. Joseph Neff, a Newark dentist who treated Amelia, has turned over portions of the jawbone that he removed from her mouth. The x-ray shows that the jawbone is still radioactive 5 years after the girl died.
Will this make your case? Will this force a settlement?
No. This gentleman will make our case.
Last night, in a graphic exclusive, the founder of the Radium Corporation breaks his long silence with this shocking announcement.
Radium is one of the most dangerous substances known to man.
Dr. Von Sashaki, is it true you assisted with the autopsy?
Given my expertise in radium extraction, I was able to determine that Miss Magia has absorbed enough radium to kill 10 people.
What does it say for mild radium therapy? Are you now advising against it?
It should be known as the most dangerous substance.
Do you agree with the doctor's prognosis that these girls only have 1 year to live?
From what I've seen, they'll be lucky to last that long.
Tell you what we should have done. We should have took that reporter up her offer when he had a chance.
$5,000? Don't make me laugh.
And we should have talked her up too, because they'd have paid. I'll tell you what else we should have done.
Stop telling me what we should have done. A lot of things we should have done. It don't do us any good to just think about them now.
All right, keep your shirt on.
Which do you like better, the red or the blue?
So is Barry going to go back to the company? What's he going to say?
I like the red better, but it don't fit so good.
Is he going to try and talk the company up a bit?
Wiley says another interview will do the job, so I say, what's one more, you know?
It's worth a try, don't you think? What if they came up to 5,000? Wouldn't you take it then?
Let them come up. I'm not caving in.
It's called a settlement.
Settlement? It's just a way for them to hide.
Let them hide.
Then they win.
So they win, Grace. They're going to win anyway.
Nice you got so much confidence in me.
Grace, for goodness sake, you've got one lawyer working for nothing. I'm going to get 6 other lawyers working in a bundle, and you think you have a chance.
You know what I found out today? They put lead screens in the laboratories for the technicians. Did they give us lead screens? What do you think? 100 girls in a room, and they're going to spend that kind of money on us.
Grace.
And they want to keep it all quiet. And Miss Wiley says
Grace.
that they're just going to close down here and open up another factory across
Grace,
the street.
what are we doing here? I thought the idea was we'd get some money to settle our debts, get a better doctor, and we'd get on with things.
Get on with things.
You're still wearing my ring?
Tommy.
There's a house for sale in my brother's neighborhood. 2 rooms up, 2 rooms down. It's not much, but it's a start. It's already got flowered wallpaper, and best of all, it's only 2 blocks from the school.
What do we need with a school?
Plan ahead for once.
Tommy, what do you think is going to happen after all this is over? You think everything's just going to go back to the way it was?
Why wouldn't it?
I gotta go see the surgeon again.
Uh-huh.
Got some fluid. He's gonna drain it.
Okay.
And then he says there'll be more.
So we deal with it
and
when it
still
comes.
more, and still more, don't you see? You're talking about buying houses and getting married when you know there's nothing.
Grace, I can't think about that right now. I just want to be together. I want to come home to you at night, to my wife, my home. I'm too old to be living this in-between life. I promise, Grace, I'll do anything to make it easy for you.
Here,
Grace, come on.
I should have given it to you.
I don't want it.
Tommy, don't make me
You
say
need to
it.
get some rest, that's all. You're not getting enough sleep. I'll be back to see you tomorrow. You get some rest.
Tommy, don't do this to me, Tommy!
Arthur.
Charlie.
I thought you were headed home.
Charlie, I've been thinking about our decision, and I think we need to take a new approach. We need to settle with the girls.
No. Arthur, we agreed. We need a definitive victory, otherwise we might want the same nonsense.
Things have changed, Charlie.
Okay. I know that you and Dan were close, but you cannot let that cloud your judgment.
Von Sachaki's going to testify.
We can deal with him.
How?
Put more money in his pocket.
Now you want to bribe him.
Not a bribe. Consideration.
Consideration.
Consideration. For an expert witness. Whatever Barry is paying him, we'll make a better offer.
You don't understand guilt, do you, Charlie?
Right now, I don't have the luxury of thinking about it.
Let me tell you something, Charlie. A guilty man has a tremendous need to unburden himself. His guilt can eat him alive. Don't you see what's going on? What Von Sachaky wants is to be free. That's why he's going to testify for the girls. That's why he'll never testify for us, no matter how much consideration you offer.
Settle with these girls, and you'll have to settle with all the others. Neff was right about that. This is just the beginning.
Get in touch with Markley. Have him talk to Barry and come up with a number that the girls can agree on.
Goodness. What are you trying to do? Are you trying to wipe me out?
You have to get this off the table, Charlie.
Every penny I put by for the last 7 years, I've sunk into this company. Why? Because of you, Charlie. Because you said it was a sure thing. No, miss. I work for Von Sachaky when we can work for ourselves. Remember that one? Or take a chance, Charlie. Take a chance.
Charlie, we were fooled. Von Sachaki fooled us all. The only thing we can do now is to clean up as best as possible.
Do this, and it's the end.
Stepping down?
Not me.
Well,
don't you know? They are one vote away from getting rid of you.
Whose vote is that?
Have you so little faith in me?
I'll still be on the board. You won't have enough votes to get me off the board.
And you'll still be on the hook if the company goes under. Remember that the next time your conscience starts to bother you.
March 15th, 1928, to Raymond Berry, attorney at law, from Edward Markley, counts, U.S. Radium. One of our expert witnesses has encountered a serious scheduling conflict and will not be able to testify in April. Therefore, we've requested an extension until June. As for the settlement of this case, every case has some sort of humanitarian aspect to it, so that cannot be the basis of settling this one. But I have no doubt you will be rewarded for the good work you are doing. If not in this world, then the next.
Rise and shine!
Madam Curie?
Time for work!
Am I late? I set my alarm.
We have $5,000 to pay before breakfast. Up. It's on the war effort.
Please, I'm so very tired.
No complaining. Good soldiers don't complain.
But I'm dying.
And who isn't?
Get up, Grace. Irene? Get up, sleepyhead. You'll never make a quota like this. It's not fair. I'm 26. I should have my own house. I should have children and be married.
We all have to make sacrifices sometimes.
I know I did. Why? Why do we have to make sacrifices? It's all for science, Grace.
Science? Family? Every life is sacrificed up to something, just a matter of choosing which.
But I didn't choose. I didn't have no choice. Sure you did, Grace. Sure you did. Don't do that, Catherine. Catherine? Now look what you did, Grace. I'm bleeding all over the dials. I'm sorry, Catherine. I shouldn't have said anything.
No problem. What's one more dead dial painter?
Grace. Mama? Grace, Mr. Markley will be here any minute. Mr. Markley? He's bringing the papers for you to sign? Did you fall asleep? Has Miss Wiley been by? Miss Wiley? About Catherine. She said she would stop by. Has she been by? She might have. Don't you know? Someone came to the door a while ago. I think your brother answered it. Look, Grace, you gotta get ready. Catherine went back to the hospital last night. I know, dear. I know. After you talk with Mr. Markley, we'll go over there. See how she is. Now, put a comb through your hair. I dreamt she died. Grace, don't speak of such things. If she dies, it's over. We're 3 months behind on the mortgage, Grace. I know that. Can't let this go on. $1,500, it's not even a year's wages. It's better than nothing, ain't it? Is that all I'm worth? Better than nothing? Of course not, sweetheart. But we've got to be realistic. At the rate things are going now, we'll never make it inside that courtroom. Even if you do, you can't prove nothing. Mr. Barry thinks we can. Mr. Barry ain't paying the bills. There's the doctors and the bank and the coal man. We can't expect folks to treat us like charity just because you're sick. I'm not asking for charity, Ma.
I just want what's owed to me. Grace, I know it feels like you're letting Catherine down, but if she decided to take the company's offer, would you hold it against her? No, you wouldn't. Now we'll take that check and pay the bills, and whatever's left, you and Tom can have. A little something to get you started.
There's nothing to start, Ma.
Why do you have to be so hard on Tommy?
Ma, please.
Can't you see? You just can't face the thought of you not being with us. I have to face it. Why can't he? Do something with your hair, Grace?
$250,000. What would you do with $250,000, Miss Fryer? Why, I can't imagine. No point to it. Ma, you didn't tell me I got more letters. New Mexico. They just keep writing. Ma, you didn't tell me Miss Wiley came by. She sent me a note. Why didn't you tell me?
Miss Fryer, Edward Markley.
Ma said you brought papers.
Yes, the terms were in our letter and $1,500 to you on the check. All we need is your signature.
Grace, Mr. Markley is a very busy man.
Oh, no, please, take your time. It would be better for me to leave and come back later.
No, we'll do this now.
What's hold harmless?
It would mean you would hold the company harmless from any further action.
No more lawsuits?
Correct.
Is that just me or anybody in my family?
Your entire family. It precludes a wrongful death action also.
This is a confidential settlement.
It's standard for most legal settlements. We like to keep our privacy and your privacy also. It cuts both ways. You keep quiet about the terms of the settlement, and so do we.
That seems fair.
Need a pen?
I have another question.
Grace, Mr. Markley already explained the settlement to you.
Ma,
I don't mind.
what's contributory negligence? It's not in them other papers. It's in the other ones you filed when we did the lawsuit. It said that the Radium Company's defense was the statute of limitations and contributory negligence.
I don't understand, miss.
It means it's our fault, don't it?
It's a standard defense. I wouldn't take it personally.
How else can I take it?
Mr. Markley, Grace has had an awful headache all day. You could just leave.
Maybe he can just answer my question.
Why are you doing this?
Why didn't you tell me Miss Wiley was here?
You'd already made up your mind. She'd only tried to talk you out of it.
What did she say about Catherine?
Mr. Markley, if you'll just leave the
Ma,
papers...
what did she say about Catherine?
She said, don't look good.
Perhaps I should come back later when Miss Fryer's feeling better.
Can you just answer my question, Mr. Markley? Because, let me tell you, I would really like an answer, because I quit school when I was 15. I went to work because my folks needed the money. At your factory, they told us what to do, when to do it, how to do it. My folks didn't raise me to make trouble, so I didn't raise trouble. Never asked questions. How do you get contributory negligence out of that?
It's a standard defense.
There is nothing standard about what happened to me.
We deeply regret your situation, but there is nothing that can tie your condition to the U.S. Radium Corporation.
Then why are you giving me this money?
It's humanitarian.
Humanitarian?
Mr. Markley, I'll take them papers.
Humanitarian? Month after month you put us off. Delay after delay. Knowing how sick we were. How tired and desperate. Humanitarian. You're waiting for us to die.
Grace, please, stop this now.
Ma, one by one I watched my friends get sick and die in the most horrible way possible. And you expect me to be grateful for any spare change they throw at me?
We think it's a very generous offer under the circumstances, and it won't be on the table for much longer.
What do you mean?
Well, Miss Fryer has 24 hours to sign the settlement, or will be forced to revoke it permanently.
Grace, he's lying.
Pardon, Miss?
You mean to tell me that if I don't sign this now, but I come back a week from now and say that I changed my mind, you'd still rather go to court and take your chances that a judge won't look at me and we'd win on sympathy alone? 24 hours. You're trying to bully me.
We'll take that for a no. We'll see you in court.
Yes, you will. You and Mr. Reader both. Even if you have to carry me in there, you'll see me. You call that man back. I am going to court, Ma. What are you trying to prove? You know you can't win. I want them to look at me. I want them to look at me and tell me how it's my fault that I got sick working in their factory. And what will that get you? What? Ma, all my life, I have done what other people told me to do. I quit school because you wanted me to. I put that brush in my mouth because Mrs. McNeil told me to. I never said, please, can I finish school? Or, please, I don't like the taste of this paint. I never questioned it, even though I knew. I knew something was wrong, Ma. At night, I would lay in my bed and look at my dress on the back of the closet door, all aglow. My shoes on the floor, my hairbrush, my comb on the dresser. So much light, Ma! So much light! And I never asked, don't you see? They knew I wouldn't. That's what they were counting on.
Ah, Arthur, it's you making all this noise.
I left messages with your housekeeper. I know you got my messages.
As we are no longer in business, I thought it was best not to reply.
So this is what that's all about.
How about some tea to calm your nerves?
You never told us that the paint was poisonous. You never told anyone, not me, not Dan.
I didn't know.
You didn't know. You invented the paint, and you didn't know. How could you lie like that?
Didn't know until it was too late.
I could put you through that wall!
Maybe you should, but you will not. Sit down, calm yourself, and have some tea.
I wasn't the technical man. You were the technical man.
Yes, I was the technical man.
I was a salesman.
Yes, no. Very good one at that. Very good head for the business, but not for the science, but for the business. You could always cut the price and keep the quality.
Goodness, what is wrong with your hands?
Oh, they've been like this for a while now.
What happened?
Well, Dr. Margolin tells me it's necrosis. Cells in my hands, they're dying. With the dial painters, it was the jaw. And with me, it's the hands.
I never knew.
It's not like you should. We haven't seen each other for a while.
How long?
Miss Wiley from the Consumers League came to persuade me to help Dr. Martland do radium exposure tests on the girls, and there's not many around who have that kind of equipment and, of course, the skill. I didn't want to believe her. I didn't want to believe that my paint could have gotten these girls sick. So I helped Dr. Martland do expired air tests on the girls, and that's when I found out my own breath registered for the radium. And my hands, they became like this. And so now you want to have words with me.
I'm sorry.
Perhaps you should consider making an appointment with Dr. Martland.
Why is that?
Did you not notice all the glowing dust on your shoes as you walked home at night?
Of course I did. I tracked it all over my house.
Well, you can be sure that most of it's now in your lungs. Look familiar?
It's our promotional piece.
Yes, very good promotional piece. How many new sales do you think it accounted for?
I didn't track it exactly, but I'd like to think it helped our medical market quite a bit.
Read me the last chapter.
What?
Page 96.
Radium. Dangerous effects.
Read me the first article.
What?
First one. What's the date?
1906.
1906. You're going to court soon, and you plan to testify that the company could not have known about the dangers. But when your own book says that it does, how can you say that you did not know?
Well, I never read the book.
What's this?
I never read the book. I hired an outside man, and I glanced at the galleys. I never read the book.
How do you mean you never read the book?
It was a standard arrangement. An outside organization put the piece together, and they're responsible for its contents.
Which you never read.
I think you'll find, Mr. Barry, that very few company presidents read their promotion word by word.
It has your name on it. You authorized the book's release, and you have approval of all the content.
Mr. Lee was in charge of promotion at the time. I entrusted those activities to him.
Now, Mr. Reader, you testified that you started at the U.S. Radium Corporation in 1918.
Yes, as a plant manager.
And you held this position for how long?
4 years.
4 years. In those 4 years, how often did you venture into the studio?
Every day.
Every day, so you must have seen the girls point the brushes on their lips.
Don't recall.
You don't recall. So you're saying you went into the studio every day and you never saw a single girl put a brush on her lips?
I said I don't recall.
What you don't recall? What do you recall, Mr. Reader? Because you're an awful young man to have such a faulty memory.
Objection!
I withdraw. No more questions.
Mr. Markley, your witness?
We've no further questions for this witness.
All right then, gentlemen, please approach. I'm ready to issue my ruling.
Your Honor,
I realize that, Mr. Markley, but this proceeding is determined standing. Now, I've heard enough these past 2 days to make a determination. The radium in the bones of these girls is an ongoing source of poison in their system. Nothing your witness can say will change that, will it?
Our witnesses are prepared to testify that the company could not have known about the danger.
Mr. Markley, in the interest of justice, I'm asking that the defense rest without calling any witnesses. You can schedule the case for trial later.
All right, Your Honor.
I therefore rule that the statute of limitations has not been exhausted and these girls have standing to sue.
One more thing, Your Honor. I have a very busy schedule with 2 cases pending, and one of our expert witnesses has encountered a serious scheduling conflict and
Your Honor,
will not be able to testify until the end of summer. We cannot appear until September. I'm sorry, Your Honor, but this chief expert witness is an associated with the Institute of Higher Learning, and this is the busiest time of year.
Mr. Markley is responsible for that situation. He is the one that made continuous delays.
For our witness here today. Surely you will not have us put forth a defense without our key witness.
Fine, Mr. Markley. The proceeding is set for September. This hearing is adjourned.
Markley, why can't Flynn appear?
He's going to Europe.
Europe? He's known about this for months. How could... Very clever. How long do you plan to keep this up?
As long as necessary.
Mr. Markley.
Mr. Barry, congratulations! I never thought the court would take it.
You know full well these girls can't wait until September. One is so ill she can't even appear in court.
My client has the right to make his defense.
I promise you that. One way or another, we all find our way on the docket, and your expert witness will be...
That girl is still staring at me.
I wouldn't worry about it.
She's staring at me like I planned this. How do I let her know that I didn't want any of this to happen?
You don't. You don't make her understand. You don't talk to her.
Barkley, she looks like death.
They all look like death. Arthur.
Grace? That man, Miss Wiley, he won't look at me. He won't ever look at me. All he does, he just looks right past me like I'm not even here.
Doesn't matter, Grace. He heard you.
June 4, 1928. Nancy Jane Harlan here for the New York Graphic. Jackie Youngman here reporting for the Newark Ledger. Raymond Berry seeks trial date for early summer. U.S. Radium Corporation announces a settlement. A settlement. $10,000 cash for each girl and $12 a week for life. $12 a week. Read all about it in the Ledger, your first source of news.
The company also agrees to pay the medical expenses of each girl for the remainder of her life. And the girls have agreed to submit to a periodic examination by a panel of physicians yet to be appointed. Question.
What led to the settlement? Is this an admission of responsibility? What about other pending cases?
The company agreed to the settlement purely for humanitarian reasons. This is admission of no liability whatsoever.
Where does the company go from here?
The U.S. Radium Corporation is pleased to have brought this lengthy litigation to close, and we look forward to many more years serving our customers and this community. That's C.D. Lee, President.
Catherine Wiley of the New Jersey Swimsuiters League. Our press statement.
Are you pleased with the outcome, Miss Wiley?
I'm relieved these girls are finally getting the compensation that they deserved. However, I'm more relieved that the issue of radium poisoning has been brought to the public awareness.
Thank you, Miss Wiley.
By the way, that's Wiley with one L and Catherine with a K.
Well, Edward, looks like we're back in business.
So, what's the game plan?
Didn't I tell you? I have a buyer on all the tailings that are piling up behind the building on Alden Street.
Oh.
Yeah, some contractor in Montclair needs a little infill.
Well, that's perfect.
Now, Catherine, this won't do. I can't see your name. That's better. Well, Catherine, it's a beautiful day. The leaves are starting to turn, but it's still warm. Too warm for a sweater. Slight breeze. A fine day to paint.
Thought I might find you up here.
You were right.
It's quiet up here.
Yep.
I guess if you can rest in peace, this is the place to do it, huh?
I guess it is.
What do you call those?
Watercolors. I'm pretty weak when it comes to landscapes, though.
It's nice, Grace. It's good.
It's the first thing I bought with my settlement money. I got some watercolors and some oils too.
Big spender.
And I bought a car.
I didn't know you could drive.
I can't. My brother's gonna teach me. He brought me up here today.
So, Grace, if you want to learn how to drive, I teach you.
It's okay. You've got other things to do now.
You heard about that?
Orange just isn't that big.
I meant to tell myself, Grace. That's why I came up here.
It's all right. I'm happy for you. I'm happy for both of you.
No hard feelings then?
I don't have time for that.
I'm glad it worked out for you, Grace. Are you glad how it worked out? You don't think you backed down too soon, do you?
We didn't back down. They backed down.
Papa? This is where I saw her the last time.
Not this again.
She was standing right over here.
This is morbid, Papa.
She standing there for a while, and she didn't see me at first, but then something made her look.
Oh my. No wonder Mama won't come for drives with you anymore. This is how you spend your Sundays.
She was looking at me, but I looked away.
It's just like at the courthouse that day. He can't bring himself to look at me.
You need to find another hobby. Retirement isn't good for you.
My heart was pounding, Harriet. I never knew what I would say to her if I had the chance, and suddenly there she was, and I had a chance.
So what did you say?
I couldn't get myself to speak.
It's almost like he's afraid to look at me.
I had a chance, and I couldn't speak.
He's afraid of me.
Papa, that was years ago. It's not like it was your fault. No one knew about things like that then. Science just wasn't as advanced the way it is now.
I think back on those days, and I try and think, how could this have happened? I remember so clearly walking up the stairs to the studio at Alton Street. A wide, high window at the top. The slant of light through the window on the floor. The creak of the floor beneath my feet. The smell of the place was chalky, like an old schoolroom. So full of girls. Schoolgirls, really. All bent to the task. Their delicate little hands moving so fast. No man could do the work that these girls did. So fast. So delicate. The brushes moving from the dials to the paint, to the dials to their lips. Try as I might, Harriet. Try as I might. But I can't remember their faces. I never saw their faces.